Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here with bombshell information. It has come out in the 1960s in congressional hearings that the CIA brought tens of thousands of tons of heroin into this country. It came out in the 80s with Iran-Contra that the CIA was shipping guns into different groups to wage war against their competition and to monopolize drugs, cocaine in that case, and bring it into the United States. Now, you've heard about the ATF and how for the last 2 years, on record, they've shipped tens of thousands of guns to select Mexican drug cartels to knock out their competition, but also blame the Second Amendment for the carnage in Mexico. And now it's come out in major newspapers in Florida and other major states like Illinois that the Justice Department, along with the DEA, FBI, and ATF, has been caught shipping guns to drug gangs in the United States and giving them police protection to knock out their competition. When I watch footage of the combined federal, state, and local raid on a public health food store selling organic cheese and mangoes today and giving people a $120,000 bail, you look at the cops in the videos that we have posted on Infowars.com, the Drudge Report's linked to, they look, their swagger, their behavior, their demeanor, like slimy criminals. Well, that's because more and more they are. That's my point. They're treating Amish people selling tomatoes and eggs like terrorists, and health food stores selling raw cheese that's made out of real milk like terrorists, because they are criminals. They are criminals. They're taking over society. But let me get into the new information. Okay? Let me get into the new information, which isn't new for our viewers and listeners, but is so incredible. 10% of opium production in the whole world was coming out of Afghanistan, according to the CIA's own numbers. You can look it up, pre-2001. After the liberation in 2001, 2002, and now fast forward in 2011, fully 90+% of world opium production, just type in Afghanistan 90+% of world opium production, you'll get BBC, you name it. So they've gone from 10% to 90+% of world opium production in the last 10 years. And the troops and others like Pat Tillman wrote letters home. Hey, the government's involved in the opium. This is all corrupt and fake. I'm going to come home and talk about it. They had to kill him. And it came out that they did assassinate him and cover it up. Well, instead they said, what are we going to do? Folks know in the internet age. Well, we just act like it's no big deal. And so they had ABC News, Fox, CNN. We've showed you those newscasts. I'm going to show you a few of the links here in a moment in case you haven't seen it, but we've covered it many times on the radio. And we've played them. Go, yeah, we help grow the opium and give them the fertilizer, and then we just try to interdict it once it comes to America. See, because they can't hide it. Oh, we try to combat it, but we go ahead and help them grow it. That's why it's gone from 10% to 91, 92, 93%, depending on which number you look at. Point is, it's gone up almost tenfold. $500 billion a year coming out of Afghanistan alone. Okay? Flooding Europe, Russia, the United States. I mean, a scourge. A scourge. But why do they make it illegal if they're the drug dealers? To shut down their competition. Now, here's the breaking news. Here is the breaking, incredible news. I direct you to the El Paso Times. Documents. U.S. federal agents allowed cartel to traffic cocaine in exchange for information. Now, we reported on this months ago, and I'm going to show you that article in a moment. But when you read this story, let me read it to you. It tells you everything. But again, it's hidden in plain view. They can't hide it anymore. U.S. federal agents allegedly allowed Sinaloa drug cartel to traffic several tons of cocaine to the United States in exchange for information about rival cartels, according to court documents filed in the U.S. federal court. It's part of a defense of Vicente Zambala Nibela, a top lieutenant of drug kingpin, Guzman, who was extradited to the United States to face drug trafficking charges in Chicago. The case could prove to be a bombshell on par with the ATF's Fast and Furious program, except that instead of U.S. guns being allowed to walk across the border, the cartel was allowed to bring drugs in the United States over a 5-year period. Now, and what did we report from the federal documents at the time? This isn't alleged. These were allowed into court, and the governments had to testify months ago that indeed he did work for them. There's Infowars.com, April 27th. What is that, 5 months ago? What is it, we're August? Yeah, that's 5 months ago. Months and months ago, and we have links to these things in the article. Top Mexican drug lord, I traffic cocaine for the U.S. government. Now again, cocaine would be dirt cheap and a joke, and hardly anybody would use it if it was just legalized. All these drug dealers would be out of business. All this crime. And you read into here, it's the same drug kingpin here saying he trafficked the drugs for the U.S. government. See, the El Paso Times is spinning this to say, oh, I was allowed to. No, he's saying I work for the U.S. government. Well, wait a minute. What do we already know here? What do we already know here? The ATF has shipped guns not just into Mexico, but into Miami, into Chicago, into Dallas, into San Antonio, into Laredo, into Los Angeles. The ATF, the FBI, DEA, they've perjured themselves and been caught doing it. 5 dead cops in the U.S., 3 dead Border Patrol, thousands of dead cops in Mexico in the last few years, 30,000 dead total of citizens, kidnapping exploding, all because they have made the drugs illegal. They made them illegal to do this. That creates the black market. They caught Wachovia last year and Wells Fargo, $376 billion in laundered money in 2 years. Oh yeah, the government doesn't know about hundreds of billions. And they didn't even get in trouble. Now, let me go further, okay? How much time do I have here, Rob?
You have another at least 6 or 7 minutes.
Okay, great, because they only let you upload 10-minute videos off iPhones. I don't know why.
Oh, 3 minutes.
Okay, Marines grow opium for their masters. And this is a Fox News clip. It's got a lot of different names out there. There's another one, CIA torture jet crashes with 4 tons of cocaine. Remember that? But this is a Fox News clip, and it's Geraldo Rivera.
Camarada, and in a sense, you're watching as this opium is being grown.
I mean, they are right there. There's newscast after newscast. Here's another one: U.S. military helping Afghan farmers grow opium. This baby is ABC News.
And now to Afghanistan, where today the Taliban claimed responsibility for.
So here's the big secret to it all. It's no secret that big banks that run our government are gang raping us and stealing the pension funds and destroying our credit by design to bring us into receivership. There's no secret they're SWAT teaming Amish people in Whole Food stores, you know, where people are selling healthy foods that you can buy actually at Whole Foods here in Austin, you know, raw cheese, but then little independent Whole Foods type operations are shut down. The issue is that in the information age, they can't hide this anymore. It's not an article in Rolling Stone or Esquire. It's not, you know, the Texas State Police, I remember in AP, caught 3 tons of pure cocaine in a truck, and the U.S. government ordered them to let the truck go, and the cops watched as 3 tons drove off. That's not the issue here. It's that we've exposed them. And so now they go, oh, yeah, for 5 years, we did let this one cartel that's allied with the criminal judges and people in the U.S. that are all being paid off, we did this to give us information on other cartels. Yeah, the cartels that the cartel and the U.S. government were attacking. Celie Castile, 6 years ago, and then 5, 3, 4, right up until he was set up by the ATF and sent to prison. Former head DEA agent, sniper, Vietnam, cop, all this stuff. He said, before the new president was even elected 6 years ago, he said, I've been asked to train Los Zetas outside Kingsville to wage a war against cartels that aren't in bed with the big U.S. banks, and I've said no. And the ATF is already shipping guns down there to get ready for this. So it accelerated under Obama, but it's still ongoing. It's so simple. Hundreds and hundreds of billions a year of drug use here in the U.S. Of course the big banks, the government are involved. Wake up to it. And of course these criminals are going to start raiding people selling milk. They're criminal mafia. Warn everyone you know. The only thing they can't stand is exposure. Thank you for watching. Now spread the word.